Hello and welcome to La La Land on CRN Digital Talk. That's Neti, Leddel.
And that's Chapin.
Thanks for joining us on La La Land. This is the only show on CRN Digital Talk and the only nationally broadcast show by Los Angeles artists about Los Angeles artists. Neti.
Yes, Brett.
It's 4th of July.
Oh my gosh, it is 4th of July. The time just flew.
It did. What do you have on your 4th of July agenda right now?
I'm going to be honest with you. I am going to be writing a lot.
Good.
That's
being creative.
Yeah, being creative.
All right. Well, that's important.
That's what us Los Angeles artists do, right?
Absolutely. We do that at any time, 4th of July or not.
What are you going to do on the 4th of July?
Well, it's my birthday tomorrow, so I know that, you wanted to give me a present on air, so I'll close my eyes right now and I'll put out my hand. No? Is it no? Nothing?
Oh my gosh.
It's a little...
Oh my gosh, it's your birthday tomorrow.
It is. So happy birthday to me. So that's what I do. I do the same thing every year for 4th of July.
I am the worst friend ever. I can't believe I forgot your birthday.
Well, that's okay, because you can take me out for a drink sometime next week. How about that?
Okay, sounds good. Last year, I gave you a cake.
Oh, yeah, that German chocolate cake.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was pretty good until you ate half of the cake before it...
Okay.
Yeah, but it was good. Okay, so we want to tell you guys about a little promotion that Caught the Play is having right now.
Darn it.
www.caughttheplay.com. Go to that website and put in your promo code LALALAND for 40% off your tickets. It's an amazing show, and we are having the lovely Deborah Puette from Caught the Play on the show today.
Yeah.
So we're really looking forward to that. And we also want to let you guys know about a little place called Pali Village Books. Pali Village Books has been open for about 30 years. It's in a small independent bookstore in Pacific Palisades, and it actually closed down this Thursday. It's a little tough economy for people, so we wanted to say hello to them and let you know that you're still able to buy books online there. Their website is palivillagebooks.com. And Tom Hanks did a fundraiser for them. Sugar Ray Leonard was somebody that did a book signing there on Thursday.
They're closing this Thursday, or?
They closed this past Thursday.
They closed, but you can still order books there online.
Exactly.
Correct? Okay.
Yes. So check them out, guys, because it's a really great bookstore, and it's an independent, and that's very important.
Yeah.
palivillagebooks.com.
Those are few and far between.
Absolutely. So we're going to be back to talk to Deborah Puette, actress from Caught the Play, and Michael Seel, the executive director of Boston Court Theater. Theater at Boston Court, I should say. But first, we're going to be talking to Gedaly Guberek. He is an actor, a blogger, and a producer.
Gedaly Guberek.
He's awesome. We love him. So we'll be back on La La Land with Brett and Ned on CRN Digital Talk. Welcome back to La La Land on CRN Digital Talk. That's Neti, Leddel.
And that's Brett Chapin.
We're talking today to actor, producer, and blogger, Gedaly Guberek. Thanks for joining us, Gedaly.
Thanks for having me.
And how do you pronounce it? Gedaly, correct?
Gedaly.
Where is that originated from?
The Bible.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Supporting extra.
Sorry, I just wanted to know. Okay.
Awesome.
It's all right.
So Gedaly is pretty interesting guy to me, and I'm really excited to have him on the show. He does a blog, Gedaly.com, and that's one of the many things he does. He has a lot of really good stuff to say about LA theater on that blog. And he's also an actor and a producer, and he was recently a part of the Los Angeles Fringe Festival. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. Well, the Hollywood Fringe Festival is in its second year now. It's just a giant arts festival. This year there were over 200 different projects of musicians, comedians, theater acts, stand-up comedy, all that kind of stuff. And it's just a big festival to get the arts in LA to thrive, to give people an opportunity to express themselves for relatively little cost. And my theater company, Courage Theater Company, decided last year to participate, and we did it again this year, and it's a blast.
Great. And there's something like 200 shows that they put on during the Hollywood Fringe Festival, right?
Yeah, there were over 200 projects, not all of them theater, some stand-up comedy, some music, but theater is the biggest category. Probably, I don't know, 100 something different theater offerings within an 11-day span.
Wow.
What show did your Courage Theater production company put on?
It's called The Trouble with Words. It's a new song cycle. It's a musical, basically. And
You wrote all the music and everything?
A company member, Greg Neighbors, he's an amazing composer, and he wrote all the music.
Wow.
He's just brilliant. And we did a few performances at the Fringe, and then we're continuing to run it through August to see how many people can come see it. It's a fun show. I really like it.
Cool. And you actually have a show tonight, don't you?
Yeah.
You're leaving here to go to one.
Yes.
Wow.
Is a Courage?
Yeah, Courage Theater Company, is that right?
Yeah.
What is your website? For Courage?
It's courage.org. Courage is spelled Courage.
And something that's really cool about Courage Theater that I found out recently is you guys are actually a pay-what-you-can theater.
Yeah, pay what you want is what we call it. Basically, we let every customer choose their own ticket price.
Wow.
A lot of the company believes that we don't want the ticket price ever to get in the way of people seeing live theater, because for a lot of people it's an excuse that keeps them away. But also, this gets people involved in our own business process, where normally a business chooses the value of their product, and we let everyone else decide that. I think it's a cool way to get the community involved in what we do.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a really great way of doing it, because I can imagine some people can only pay a couple of dollars, and sometimes you probably get people in there that will pay $50.
Oh yeah, we get a huge range from $0 to over $50, and it averages out, and we've been able to keep our doors open for the last year and a half since we started.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And what's coming up with Courage right now?
We're still playing The Trouble with Words through August 27th, troublewithwords.com. And then next we will be doing a piece that might be Shakespeare called Double Falsehood. It was recently published by Arden a year and a half ago. They're saying, hey, we think this is Shakespeare, so they published it, and now it's back in the spotlight. We want to produce it. I think we're the West Coast premiere ever. So
Very
since
cool.
it was written 400 years ago, it's probably never been produced fully over here, so we're doing that. And
What is
then
that called again?
Double Falsehood.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then during Halloween, we are doing Rocky Horror Show.
Oh.
At least
That's great.
we.
Are
we
you
did
going to
that
be on
last-
roller skates?
I don't know. We did it last year, and it was
Love
a huge
that
success,
show.
so we definitely want to do it again this year.
Oh,
Get those skates on. Start learning, huh?
Yeah.
that's a pretty fun show.
Yeah, it is. That's great. And a little closer. And as far as your history personally, are you from LA? You're from a different area?
Yeah, originally from San Diego, grew up there. Great city, great weather, lovely beaches, but I never went.
And you gave it all up.
Yeah, and now that I'm farther away from the beach, I want to go back.
Sure.
Then I went to school for a little bit there, transferred up to Cal State Fullerton in Orange County, stayed there for a while. And then once I was done there, I started doing some theater in LA, and I was commuting up, and I decided I didn't want to do that anymore. And so I moved up to LA while Courage Theater Company was starting, and I've been up ever since.
Great.
Were you doing theater in college at Fullerton?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So you knew. What you wanted.
I started
You had
doing,
your eyes on the prize.
Yeah, I started doing theater in high school, and I just got hooked, and there was so much to do, and I just didn't want to stop.
So you were one of the lucky ones that knew pretty early on what you wanted to do.
An old pro.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
And is there any particular actor who you admire, who you follow, who you would like to maybe develop your career kind of on a similar path to them?
One of my many heroes is Charlie Chaplin.
Yes.
He's an inspiration just because he's a great comedian, great physical actor, great actor, but he also directed, he composed music, he produced his own work, and it's appealing to me to be able to do so much. It's hard, but I like it.
Yeah, kind of being a jack of all trades of the arts.
Yeah.
Something a lot of actors would like to do. Very cool. And as far as you have stage combat experience as well, is that right?
Yeah, I do a lot of things. Every now and then I find a new interest and I pursue that as best as I can. Stage combat is fun for me. I grew up watching Power Rangers and things like that. I studied martial arts for several years, and then I was able to take stage combat classes in college and after and just pursue that training. So it's something I'm really interested in doing now. Just the illusion of violence is great acting and great workout all at the same time.
Sure. Yeah, it always helps to have the experience in different types of acting.
Oh, yeah.
Because then casting directors will look at your resume and see that you have experience in these different places, and you're more likely to get cast a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So where's the show you're at that you're doing tonight?
That's at the Actors Circle Theater in West Hollywood. You can look at courage.org or troublewithwords.com, and there's directions and address on there.
Trouble with Words. Are there words in that show?
Yes, it's a musical, and there are lyrics to the songs.
I'd like to hear more about that.
All right.
We're going to be back to tell us a little bit more about the 60-minute version of that you did at LA Fringe. And we're going to be talking to Gedaly Guberek here on La La Land with Brett and Ned on CRN Digital Talk. Welcome back to La La Land on CRN Digital Talk. That's Neti Leddel.
And that's Brett Chapin.
We're talking to Gedaly Guberek, actor, producer, and blogger. Check out his work. He's got a lot of really good things to say about theater on Gedaly.com. That's Gedaly. And you can also find him on Twitter at Gedaly, Gedaly, or for information on his theater company, you can go to courage.org. That's COEURAGE and .org. And if you have any questions for Gedaly, go ahead and give us a call at 1-800-336-2225.
More Thank you so much for being here, by the way.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And so tell us more about your current show, Trouble with Words. Is that your solo project that's going on right now?
No, it's a huge collaboration between a composer, 6 musicians, 6 actors, and the entire company. It's like our biggest show that we've produced thus far because so many people are involved. And I'm more of the back end of that. I coordinated a lot of the Fringe Festival performances. I'm often house managing. I created the website for the show, troublewithwords.com.
You created the website?
Yes.
So you're pretty web savvy?
Yeah.
Okay. And as far as web and media stuff, you also are a blogger, correct?
Yep.
And tell us a little bit about what is that?
It's really just my own journal or my own magazine, I guess, to share my thoughts, whatever I want to write with the internet. The cool thing about the internet is you can self-publish and get your work out there no matter who you are.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
And it's primarily about theater or just thoughts and creativity in general, the stuff you want to get out there?
Yeah, I mean, mainly it's been about theater since that's where my head has been for a while now, but it's really just the thoughts that I want to get out there and want to share, have to express.
Wow.
We've talked a lot on the show about how social media has just become so important for actors or any artists as a way to promote themselves and really get themselves out there. So having a blog is a really great way of doing that as well.
Yeah.
And you don't seem like the type of person to be super talkative, so I'd be really excited to read what was going on in those blogs.
Yeah, it's easier for me sometimes to just write everything down because when I'm not talkative, I may have one heated conversation to get my feelings out with one person, but then that's only one person that knows that. So if I really want to reach a wider audience, I can write a blog and then tweet everyone I know about it, and bam, it's out there.
And that's how it works.
Yeah.
Reading your blog, you would think that you were just a guy that never stopped talking because you got so much good stuff to say on there. You know, what are some of your favorite subjects that you've tweeted, or that you've wrote about on your blog?
I guess lately the future of theater, just because things are they're in flux right now, and there's a lot of talk about where's theater going. These big institutions are kind of going away or dying, or losing a lot of their following. So I like thinking about that, writing about that, and how like the local theaters are starting to really find their audience, find their power, and just find ways of being more relevant in today's society.
Are you talking about small theater or big theater? Because clearly big theater is being promoted, right?
Right. Big theater is promoted, but the thing is about big theater, or the regional theaters that sprung up in the 70s, is that they served a region. Like, people from all over Southern California would go to the Old Globe in San Diego. And when was the last time you wanted to go see a show in San Diego?
Right.
40 years ago, there was no traffic. People liked driving. But now people have trouble going more than half an hour to see something. So that's why we now have, 250 theaters in a 50-mile radius. So it's more, along with the local food movement and all that stuff. So is the local theater movement, I think, is what's coming up.
Who knew?
Such an important time right now, I think, for LA theater, because a lot of the smaller venues, and when I say smaller, I mean under 1,000 seats, are really starting to make their way out there and get noticed.
Yeah.
And they're putting on such good quality productions that it's making it very comparable to New York, I think.
Absolutely.
Gedaly Guberek, actor, producer, blogger. We'll be back to talk to Deborah Puette and Michael Seel. Deborah is an actress in Caught at the Zephyr Theater, and Michael Seel is the executive director of the theater at Boston Court. Thanks so much for coming in, Gedaly.
Thank you.
All right. Be sure to keep us posted.
Will do.
And we'll be back on La La Land with Brett and Net on CRN Digital Talk. Welcome back to La La Land on CRN Digital Talk. That's Neti Leddel.
And that's Brett Chapin.
We're talking to the executive director of the theater at Boston Court, Michael Seel.
Hello.
Hi, Michael. And we're also talking to the lovely Deborah Puette, actress and Ovation Award winning producer.
Hello.
Hi, Deborah.
Thank you so much for being here, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Our pleasure.
So we were talking a couple of weeks ago about the state of LA theater, and we're really happy to have Michael Seel in today to talk about that a little bit. But first, I want to talk a little bit about Boston Court, the theater at Boston Courts. How long has it been around, and tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, well, we opened our doors in May of 2003 and did our first inaugural production in the fall of 2003. So we are in the middle of our 8th season. And Boston Court came around. C. Clark Branson, who had been a lifelong resident of Pasadena, had wanted to give back to the community and just always appreciated small, intimate performances. So they first started, when he decided to do this, he started looking around to do a conversion, as most small theaters are, and wasn't finding the right spot or anything that looked appetizing to him. And a city-owned parking lot in Pasadena became available and was going up for auction because it was not, or going up for sale because it was not bringing in the income. So he put a bid on it, and before the city said yes, they made him come in and say, okay, can you afford to actually do what you say you're going to do, which he could. And they broke ground, and we have the beautiful Boston Court Performing Arts Center that we get to move into. And he and Eileen Takei, who was the project manager for the project, brought myself in, and Michael McKetty and Jessica Kubzanski, who are our co-artistic directors, and we created a nonprofit. And Clark said, do what you want. Let's try it for 5 years. If I don't like what's going on, I'll say so. And we're still going. And he shows up almost every week to sit in and watch the productions, and loves what's going on. So we're really thrilled. And, we do mostly, new works or second and third productions of new works, because everybody wants to do a world premiere and everybody wants to do the 20th production once it's proven, but nobody wants to do the second, third, fourth, fifth production of a play.
Amen.
Yes.
So
Amen.
we hope that we can do some of that, and then we also do, most every year we do a re-envision classic, taking a classic Shakespeare, Moliere, whatever, and put a different twist on, a Boston Court twist, and sometimes we're more successful than others in those. So
Those are some of my favorites.
yeah,
Of yours, yeah.
mine too, actually. Yeah. So it's still going strong, and very proud of what we've been able to accomplish in 8 years, and we keep plugging away as a nonprofit, and the people of Pasadena keep supporting us. So we're lucky.
Excellent. Excellent. And you operate under something called the 99 seat agreement.
Yes.
Can you explain to our listeners a little bit about what the 99 seat agreement is?
Sure. And Deb, you can jump in here because you've acted under it many times. Many, many years ago, when working film and television actors and theater actors were looking for a way to get more work or have more work available, and they were part of the unions, they created the 99 seat plan. It was first known as Equity Waiver, and it allows both union actors and non-union actors to work on the same stage together. And there are minimum requirements as far as payment. I will say that Boston Court does pay higher than that amount. There is no stipend for rehearsal. We actually pay a stipend. So we're trying to up that on Boston Court side.
And you have done, right? You've continued
Yes.
to raise it.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, this year we just received a grant to up our stipend for every actor by $100. So we went from $300 rehearsal stipend to $400. So,
Wow.
yeah. So we continue that. And our goal is to eventually get to a some sort of modified equity contract. And but part of that issue for us is that the jump is too high to go from, because you get in the 99 seat plan, you get a 6-week rehearsal period, possibly 8 if you are part of the extended rehearsal plan. But for us doing new work, that 6 weeks is really important. It allows us to develop. And so making that next jump means we would have to be paying an hourly fee for rehearsals. And that is where it starts getting cost prohibitive for us at this point.
A little more cost effective to just stick with the regular 99 seat agreement for now.
For now, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the goal is we always look at it once a year. We take a look and say, okay, how can we do that? And I think that it's time that Equity actually makes some sort of negotiations with theaters that want to do that, to make a few smaller steps between the 99 seat plan and moving up to a HAT contract. So it makes it easier for people to move forward.
Sure. And part of the reason that I'm bringing up the fact that you work under a 99 seat agreement is because there have been a lot of panel discussions lately in Los
Yes.
Angeles regarding the state of theater. Is Los Angeles a theater town, etc.? And 99 seat agreement has a lot to do with that. Some people feel that the 99 seat agreement has hurt Los Angeles theater because it's been around since the 80s, and it makes it a little bit tougher for actors to get paid for their work. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, as a producer, we couldn't do we would not be able to do new work like we do at this point, because it would be cost prohibitive, or new work that had more than 2 actors in it.
Right.
So when you're trying to develop that, it makes it difficult. I also think that the ability to work by many actors wouldn't be happening, because they are getting work because there is an abundance of it.
Right.
And I think a lot of actors who find projects for themselves and try to move those forward too wouldn't be able to do it if they didn't have that plan to work with it. So yes, there are problems with it, but I also think that it's beneficial to the entire community.
Yeah, I mean, I have been on both sides of that. I've been in plenty of 99 seat shows, and I've produced one. And while I don't love the idea of actors being essentially full-time volunteers, I also understand that a lot of the opportunities that I have had that have enriched me artistically, professionally, on many levels wouldn't have happened without that plan.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be back to talk a little bit more to Michael Seel and Deborah Puette. If you have any questions for them, go ahead and give us a call at 1-800-336-2225. We want your calls. We'll be back on La La Land with Brett and Ned on CRN Digital Talk. Welcome back to La La Land on CRN Digital Talk. That's Neti Leddel.
And that is Brett Chapin.
We're talking to Executive Director of the theater at Boston Court, Michael Seel. And for information on Boston Court, you can go to bostoncourt.com. We're also talking to actress and producer Deborah Puette of caughttheplay.com at the Zephyr Theater. If you have any questions for either of them, go ahead and give us a call at 1-800-336-2225. And guys, I want to talk a little bit about the state of theater in LA right now. It's an interesting time. There seems to be a little bit of a divide between some of the smaller theaters, and when I say small, I mean less than 1,000 seats, and the mainstream press, because a lot of the smaller theaters feel like they're not quite getting the exposure that they deserve. What are your thoughts on all that?
Yeah. So here's the thing.
It's an interesting and sensitive subject. I understand.
No, it is, and I get that. I get that newspapers are struggling. I get that there's a bottom line, but what I don't quite understand, can't wrap my head around, is this lack of attention to new works, new artists, or just people who aren't in the public awareness. This lack of wanting to bring them to people's awareness, because if newspapers, if media is meant to serve the community, and they're not sharing with the community the amazing things that are happening in our theater scene, in the small theaters, then they're underserving their community. And you know, I if anybody's like read my blog or followed me on Twitter or anything, they're going to hear this.
Where can we read your blog?
Oh, it's at deborahpuette.blogspot.com. And this will be repeat information, but I come from, and I'm not holding Chicago up as the model for us, but it's an example. In Chicago, there are arts writers who, when they find something that they think deserves the attention of everybody, they shout it from the rooftops. And that is the way that our new playwrights get the attention that they need, that our tremendously talented directors who aren't yet working at Center Theater Group, for instance, get the attention that they need. And this is not about cheerleading. Like, we don't need cheerleaders, but what we do need are advocates when we deserve it. And we deserve it so often. You know, Tom Jacobson, who's a playwright that's produced at the Boston Court, that there has not yet been an enormous feature on this man in the LA Times is beyond me. I don't understand that, because his work deserves it, and everyone should know about him so they have the opportunity to see his work. So that's where I feel like the divide is happening. And it's, you know, our less, I don't know how you divide up the press between more mainstream, less mainstream. Like, what is the LA Weekly? What is the LA Times? But the Weekly, for instance, Stephen Lee Morris does a tremendous job of exactly what I'm saying. But is he reaching the community at large with the Weekly? I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough, because, you know, Stephen Lee Morris is no longer the full-time theater critic. I mean, he is doing what he's doing really out of the goodness of his heart, because, you know, corporate that is no longer even in Los Angeles for the LA Weekly eliminated that position a couple of years ago. So it's tough, and I think that we all need to keep trying to hold them accountable and get them to at least feature those new artists, those people who are actually making a difference in LA theater. I don't think that they're ever going to be, because of financial restrictions and like that they're ever going to need to review every play that gets put out.
I don't even think that's what it's about.
But they do need to support the theater and the theater community, and not just at the times when the TV or film star is starring in a production on a stage, and generally those tend to happen on the larger stages.
Yes,
but that's when they do, you know, present. But they like you said, I actually think they do need to cheerlead. They need to find those artists that are making a difference, and really support those and make people aware. You're right. But I also think as a community, we need to find other outlets to do that ourselves. And, new media is a way. It keeps growing and growing. There are certain people who are out there doing the cheerleading, and I think that they're eventually going to help us make a difference in that. So
I think that there is a way to walk that fine line between honest criticism, right, and cheerleading / advocacy.
yes,
You know,
there is a line.
We don't want to be handing a trophy to every kid because they participated. We
Right.
do want the cream to rise to the top, but when it has risen, somebody needs to point at it and go, that's the cream. Excuse me, I do it every time I'm on the radio. That's the cream. Like, look at this, pay attention. Did I just break a lot of rules?
It's okay, go on.
Keep going. No, it's a very sensitive topic because it's a labor of love. It's a labor of love, and so everybody's passionate who's involved. Everybody's passionate about it.
Well, and there are, and like I said, there are new media that are doing that. What we're doing right now, for instance, is a great step in making that happen, making people aware. So, bloggers, even on Twitter, in 140 characters, there's ways to get stuff out there.
That's right. You guys are important.
Yeah.
Wow, we're making a difference, Neti.
Yeah.
New media.
Imagine that.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll get many more people involved, just like these wonderful people here coming.
You
on our
must
show.
be talking about Deborah Puette, who you can find information about at deborahpuette.blogspot.com, and Michael Seel, who you can find information about at bostoncourt.com. Find out about the theater at Boston Court. And we'll be back to talk to them a little bit more on La La Land with Brett and Net on CRN
Digital Talk.
Director of the theater at Boston Court, Michael Seel. Hello, Michael.
Hello.
And amazingly intelligent, by the way.
Amazingly intelligent.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're also talking to actress and Ovation Award-winning producer Deborah Puette.
That is award-winning.
Hello.
Thanks so
for
much
being
for
here.
having
Yeah,
me.
she's done something that I haven't been able to do in my career.
Is that right?
That's right.
It was really, really a lot of dumb luck. It's the only show I've ever produced, and it was a great show, but
Oh, it was a great show.
Yeah.
I did not get to see it, but I heard many things.
I can't claim producer status like he can because he does it all the time.
Right.
But you're currently doing a show, Caught, at the Zephyr Theater, is that right?
Sir, I am. I am doing a play called Caught that's been running since December 3rd, which makes us currently LA's longest running play for, we're talking about shows that go up every weekend, so not like event schedules, but regular play schedules. And it's at the Zephyr Theater. Information's at caughttheplay.com, and we are running until August 7th when we must close.
Yes, and
Wow.
Yes.
you're also running a promotion for that. If you put in your promo code La La Land, you can get 40% off your tickets.
That's right.
And you must go, because I have seen her in it, and she is fabulous. And the entire cast is fabulous, and the play is wonderful. So definitely get over there.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we're actually planning on going to see it again. Me for the 4th time, Neti for the 3rd time.
Yeah.
Before you close.
We have a lot of repeat business. People like the show.
It is. It's a great show.
There are so many people I want to bring,
I know. So, Michael, another question that I wanted to ask you regarding the state of LA theater. There was, I've heard it suggested that a fine arts council be created to train arts administrators in Los Angeles. A lot of people get into arts administration because they just did a show and they kind of fell into it, but they weren't necessarily trained as administrators. What's your thoughts about that idea?
I think it's a brilliant idea. And actually, there's conversation about that happening. I've actually been talking to several people about even creating a mentorship program for young artists or administrators who want to move further into it, and hooking them up with established producers, both in the commercial field and the nonprofit world. But and I actually just sat on a focus group down at CTG this week, and they got a grant to study the possibility of doing graduate internships in arts management throughout various companies. But I think it's and we were talking about this a little earlier while we were in the waiting area. I would love to see enough people, because I don't come from I'm not a playwright, I'm not an actor, I'm not a designer, I'm not a director. I do it because I fell in love with theater and I'm not talented on that side. So I am there to support the artists, and that's how I got into being into the theater. And I think that there aren't enough people who are there to do that. And I think if we find, because a lot of times artists find work that they want to do, and they go at it and they present it, and they have difficulty because they don't know what to do. And they're also then not worried about the art. I mean, they are worried about the art, but they are also worried about the box office, and they shouldn't have to be worried about the box office. So finding that support is really important.
Absolutely. I'd agree with you. I think it's a great idea.
Wow. Labors of love that can be fruitful.
Absolutely. Michael Seel of the theater at Boston Court, bostoncourt.com, and Deborah Puette of deborahpuette.blogspot.com and caughttheplay.com. Thanks so much for joining us, guys.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you so
Thank
much
you.
for having us.
It's great.
It's great to see you again.
And next week on La La Land, we are going to be talking to the lovely Kristen Towers Rolls, actress, as well as her father, Robert Towers.
That's right.
Kristen is actually the granddaughter of the MGM actress Katherine Grayson, so she has quite a lineage, and she's one of the hardest working actresses I know, so she'll be in here and have a lot to say.
We're looking forward to it.
So make sure you join us next time on La La Land with Brett and Net, right here on CRN Digital Talk. We'll see you at the top.